This movie will look at the Edit Title Block Text dialog that can be accessed by either double-clicking a title block or by clicking the Edit Title Block Text button on the Object Info palette. The dialog is divided into 4 tabs, and we'll go through each one and describe what it does. The labels here are fairly self-explanatory, and you can enter the title block text in these fields here, and this text, if you're using it, will appear in the title block. Now, it's probably unusual that you would use every piece of text in this dialog because different title blocks have different requirements and so on. And if you're not using, say, a status field, then you don't have to enter anything into the status field, but regardless, these fields will appear. There are 4 fields here that you can customize the label for, and this allows you to then you or other people in your office to know what actually gets entered here. By clicking the Edit Labels here, you could put something like Engineer in that field, and this field will then be labeled Engineer. You'll see that if I click OK and come back in there next time, it's actually populating out to the full length. The number and format field here allows you to append to whatever the drawing number is the status, the revision, the status being this field here, the current revision, the status and the revision, revision and status, or you can put the status before, or any of these combinations. The status field is really designed to allow you to switch a drawing from, say, a development stage to a design stage to a construction stage by simply changing this letter here on the title block. And if you were using an abbreviation here for development, then it might start with D, and you might use the status and then the number. So it will put this, whatever's in this field here, before the number down here in the title block. That's pretty well all that I need to comment on in this particular tab, except to say that any of these fields that allow you to enter multiple lines will support a carriage return. So if you had a title block that allowed 3 lines for, say, the drawing title, you could put a carriage return in here and type some additional text in there, and it will appear as 2 lines of text in the title block. For the notes section, you'll see that at the bottom it's telling us that we can put up to 32,000 characters in this field, and when you enter a lot of text in here, the scroll bars will appear. So you could actually use this field to enter a small specification or something, but anyway, an extensive set of notes that might be part of your title block. The project info is generally common to all title blocks in the drawing, and this is also where you would enter the number of sheets that make up this particular set. This would only be necessary if you were showing the number of sheets in your title block. For example, you can see down here that we have the number 6 there, so if you were wanting to show that this was sheet number 4 of 6, then you could use this field here. If you don't use that feature in your title block, then you don't need to worry about this. The title here, again, you can enter multiple lines of text here, same for the address, same for the client. If you want to include the file path in your file name, some people like to include the CAD file name in their drawing here, and you can see it on this title block, then clicking this box will also include the file path name or not. When you do enter the project information into this tab of the dialog, you can copy it to all other title blocks in this file by clicking this button here. When you do that, you'll be asked to confirm, and when you do that, the information you've entered will update in the other title blocks as well. In the revision journal, you can enter any number of revisions by clicking the Add button and entering in the date and whatever the revision note is going to be. If you've got existing revision notes, you can edit them by selecting it and clicking the Edit button. You can choose whether you use letters or numbers for issues and for revisions, whether they auto-increment or whether you manually type in the revision number, and whether they go up or down the sheet. You also have the ability to show only the 4 or whatever number you enter in here most recent revisions in the title block. And just let me demonstrate that. If I'll turn that feature off, click OK, and just scroll this down a little bit, and you'll see that this title block actually has too many revisions in it to fit in this space here. Now partly that's because I've got a lot of space in between these. I'm about to talk about that as well. Let's go back into the dialog, and you'll see revision note spacing factor here. This is, if you set this at 100%, it means that between each revision note you'll get one full line, or the equivalent of one full line of text in between. Now by default this is set to something like 25%, and you'll see if I click OK now that these are now spaced more closely together, and I actually fit all of those revisions into this title block. But if I only wanted to see the most recent 4 revisions, then I can double click here, choose to show only the most recent 4 revisions, click OK, and I'm just going to get the most 4 recent revisions in here. You'll also notice that if I enter a long revision note, it automatically will run over to 2, 3 or 4 or however many lines you need. The spacing factor here is specifically designed, this spacing factor here, for people who have lines in their title block and need to align this text exactly with what's happening in the title block. This also allows you to set up or down the sheet. And in the issue journal it's very similar. All of the features are virtually the same. Now you can also enter issues and revisions in the Revise Issue Print dialog using these 2 fields here, but we'll look at this separately. But this way, using these 2 fields, you can enter revisions and issues for multiple sheets or title blocks at the same time. We'll look at that in a separate movie.